Business English News 47, The Post-Pandemic Workplace. Clearly, the COVID-19 pandemic has spurred incredible changes in how we work. At the end of 2020, a whopping 42% of the American workforce continued to work remotely. This has meant rapid upskilling and massive investments in technology and infrastructure. But it would be wrong to think that this is an entirely new phenomenon, as Tech.co News reports. According to Candace Helton, operations director at Ringspo, it's worth noting that 70% of companies have been working on digital transformation before the pandemic hit. But the pandemic tipped their hands, and the resulting change in work cultures around the globe will push even more businesses to accept remote options as the new normal. In this new normal, relationships are different. There are no corner offices in the virtual workplace, no staff rooms, and no cubicles. There are fewer physical reinforcements of hierarchy, and it's oddly humanizing to see the CEO deal with the same interruptions, like kids and barking dogs, that we all experience working from home. It represents an important shift, as NBC describes. Virtual conference meetings, which have become the norm during the pandemic, have fundamentally changed the culture of the workplace, ushering in a more democratic office. We've had this amazing digital experience where everybody occupies equal space on the screen through video conferencing, says Antonia Carone at Cushman & Wakefield. We're going to expect that equality to continue. For companies that are able to embrace this shift, there are rewards aplenty. The first and most obvious one is cost savings. Across the world, corporations are reducing their physical footprints and slashing budgets accordingly. This is helping the bottom line, or at least mitigating the negative impacts of the pandemic. But it's not just about money, as Forbes explains. One of the most significant macro benefits and biggest changes brought about by the pandemic is that employees are no longer confined by their locations. By removing geographic constraints, employers gain access to talent from around the world, which allows them to cast a wider net for suitable employees. It could also make it easier to retain talent. Another oft-cited and surprising benefit of remote work is increased productivity. The experience of 2020 has clearly given the lie to the idea that people would become lethargic working from home. In fact, productivity has shot up along with average working hours. The question now is whether this is sustainable. Some aren't so sure, as Forbes notes. Recent studies have found that the gains in productivity seen at the outset of the pandemic may have started to erode towards the end of 2020. This signals a rise in work-from-home fatigue. The impacts of this fatigue are that workers struggle with anxiety and a lack of focus and engagement with their teams. A recent poll cited employee burnout from overwork as the biggest work-from-home concern among organizations globally. Considering the downsides, is remote work all it's really cracked up to be? Are people like Toby Lutka, CEO of Shopify, correct when he says office centricity is over? There's an important flip side to having your entire team work remotely. There are things we miss, and this might mean offices will never die, according to the Wall Street Journal. Even though they may be expensive, offices do matter. The physical interactions they provide foster collaboration. The rituals of office life matter, as does our office social life, which helps keep us engaged. Organizational culture matters, and that's conveyed by these interactions. It's hard to sustain that via occasional video chats. CEOs know this. Their single biggest concern about remote work arrangements now is how to keep their culture functioning. Given these concerns, what appears most likely is that the post-pandemic workplace will be some kind of hybrid. You may find yourself commuting 2 days a week instead of 5, or you'll head into the office for key work activities. And when you do, expect health and safety to remain of paramount importance. This will inspire even more innovation, as Silicon Republic concludes. According to one tech evangelist, this may include everything from wearables to help with crowd control to automated sensors in office lobbies. As businesses across the globe prepare to reopen offices, these environments will look drastically different to the pre-pandemic office. Indeed, the new normal might not seem very normal for quite some time.